Hi, Marieke. How are you?
I'm fine. Hello, Candy.
Good to see you. Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you for helping us to kickstart the Net Zero Expert interview series. For the audience who don't know yet, you already gave us a very helpful conversation or sessions to some of our volunteers in the test and learn phase. Maybe for their benefits, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm an engineer at the start. I did INSEAD in 2000. In July, I graduated full-time MBA after a long, well, not that long, maybe for some of you, a career mainly in management consulting and strategy and business development. I decided at some point that it was time to really make the switch. I started my career in water because I wanted to do something good for the world and because I thought water was the one single most important thing in the world. And throughout my career, climate change became more and more important. And I really wanted to make an impact. So I joined Greenfish a couple of years ago, really aiming to make as much positive impact against climate change as I could possibly do. Mm-hmm. And this is how I also got involved in the Community Impacts Challenge, because net zero comes very close to my heart. I really think we need businesses to go net zero in order, plain simple, to save the world. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've been helping with some knowledge nuggets, as we call them. I've been helping a little bit with framing here and there of the program, and we've been involved with some advisory sessions, which I hope will be many more to follow. And it really, really warms me up. This is the one thing I want to do.
Wow, that's great. That's that's very exciting that you have the passion. You clearly believe that business can do something and play a part in addressing sustainability and helping with the climate change or the climate crisis. Why do you believe in that?
Answer is twofold. I think every single person on this planet should feel responsible for whatever impact they have on this planet. Mm-hmm. So it's a question of responsibility. It's also the businesses that make most of the negative impact. So they should feel responsible to make that right. It's also very urgent, I think, as everybody who's in this audience knows. Mm-hmm. The IEA, International Energy Agency, said that if in 2030 we manage to get emissions 45% down, we'll be on track with net zero. And I think you and all the other people listening will know that this 45% is really, really difficult if compared with the 2010 that it took. And the longer we wait, the more difficult it will become. Mm-hmm. So I think this is the urgency and the responsibility. Apart from that, I really think that there's no other choice for businesses. They really have no choice. Mm-hmm. Regulation and compliance will be tighter and tighter, especially in Europe. I think with Europe will be the first movers in this. Don't forget peer pressure, market pressure. I think we'll talk about it later a little bit. For us, for example, as Greenfish, we see it really in employee retention. It's important for all the different stakeholders that you have as a company. So mm-hmm. Shareholders, employees, clients, but also in the supply chain. If you don't act now, if you're in the wrong part of the business, wrong part of the market, you might even have the danger to lose your license to operate in the long sense if you're in the wrong little bit, versus getting huge opportunities if you're in the right part. Mm-hmm. So I really think businesses have no choice anymore. Mm-hmm. Many might not feel it as such, but things are really moving fast, and I know because I'm in the middle of it. And especially in Europe, we'll start moving this really, really fast now.
You work with a lot of organizations. What would you say are the most common factors or situations that either push or triggers the organization to take sustainability more seriously?
Yeah, with Greenfish, we do the whole bit. So we go from the very strategic beginning of this business transformation to sustainability to the very end of the implementation. So indeed, we come across lots and lots of different cases. Mm-hmm. The first movers are the ones where the top management has intrinsic motivation. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I suspect guilt. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You can see that in the very large organizations, but also in the people that have been earning a lot of money, that are now bulking with the money and are starting to think like, okay, so now let me do something good back to the world. Those are the first movers. I think. As I just mentioned already, the factors really triggering businesses to move are right now their reputation and the supply chain and the competition, the market basically. Mm-hmm. Then there's the regulation and the compliance, especially in Europe, but also elsewhere. And let's not forget that there's a lot to be won as well. I really, really like the cases where I help companies to, for example, save a lot of energy. Mm-hmm. And where there's a win-win situation where it actually saves the company a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And most companies with factories, they really think they're there already, but believe me, none of them has ever really focused on their energy usage. Right. So there's a lot to be gained. I want to give you some examples because I think they speak for themselves much better. Mm-hmm. We came across a large logistic player, and they lost a contract with one of their retail clients. And they came to us after and they said, listen, we can't afford to lose contracts anymore. So now you see that actually the clients are demanding to have a proper plan in place, because you are there in their scope 3, if you look at the GSG protocol. And so those retail companies, they also want to look at what their supply chain is doing and what the clients are doing and what the rest of the market is doing. Then the financial market is a different one. I just came across one yesterday where there's a venture capital firm who wants to set up a new fund, and the investors actually asked the venture capital firm to come up with a proper investment policy taking account of sustainability better than they did before, even if the venture capital firm is already focusing completely on, for example, things like carbon capture. So even they have to step up to be better prepared. And another one, the last one maybe I want to mention, is a large juice producer who wants to expand majorly, but they're in a market where they're one of the biggest in Europe. And they saw a huge competitor of theirs claiming they will become climate neutral already in 2030. And of course they want to do the same. They say we can't go behind because our clients, they'll prefer our competitor very soon. So all parts of the market, if it's clients, if it's supply chain, if it's investors, they're asking for this. I think those are the real triggers. So those we start to see more and more and more. It's very exciting.
Exactly, that is really exciting, knowing that all the sort of various stakeholders are also ramping up the pressure.
Yeah.
So we talked about the pressure from supply chains or from customers. If we then now look at your organizations, we understand that Greenfish is in the process of signing up to the Race to Zero.
Yep.
So as an employee, as one of the seniors of the organization, what does that mean to you when the organization has done that?
I think it's very, very important. We just had a lunch session today in which the CSR policy is being explained again, and all the actions we're taking. I think every single person that works for Greenfish has only one purpose in their life, or at least a reason why they joined Greenfish is to make a positive impact and fight climate change. So I'm no different, and I might even have a stronger drive than they are. We just want to have as much impact as we can. Mm-hmm. And going to net zero is the only route we can take. Just a science-based target is actually not enough. Reducing your impact is not enough, because we won't make it with that. Mm-hmm. Because we will still have the little bit, if we reduce from here to here, we still have the little bit of CO2, and the world economy is still growing. So it will still increase the CO2 or the greenhouse gases that we put in the air. So we have to go to zero, otherwise we won't make it. So it's very, very important. I would almost say it's the most important thing of my life, but then I would not do credit to my children and my husband. But
well, that is also for them, right?
Yes.
So it's in a different way, yeah.
Yes, and it is. I think it's the main driver for many people in the top, is they think about the future of the children and what is the heritage they give on to them. and feel responsible for that.
There would be a lot of people in your positions would have a lot of other reasons or concerns why they haven't made that step or why they cannot make that step. In your experience, what are the prerequisites for organizations if they want to take this step successfully?
Yeah, well, we do this a lot so we help organizations a lot with this. We've done it ourselves, so we've gone through all the pain. But it's not all pain, it's very important, and you will discover there's lots of areas where you can actually also find efficiency. You know, it's not just to tick the box. It will change the way the organization thinks, and it will find the better spot in the market, getting a better profitability possibly in the future. I think what you need to do is actually you should start from the basic. You should start with the proper CSR strategy that's taken seriously, where all the top management commits wholeheartedly. Once you have that in place, this is only part of it. You know, every ethical organization in the world should be making this kind of step, and they all have their own proper strategy, which is probably based on the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, and all take a slightly different route. But I think it's good to have that route in place already, you know, so it fits. Then one of the first steps you have to do, in my opinion, even if the Race to Zero itself has starting line criteria, you know, you have the pledge, the plan, the proceed, and the publish. I really think you should actually start a little bit on the back and calculate first your current footprint. You first have to know where you are. You have to know what your baseline is. And then what I highly recommend is identify your hotspots. So where in your organization, in your scope 1, 2, and 3, are actually the parts where you emit the most. You know, where is your footprint the heaviest? And it helps to concentrate on those and make some scenarios on how you actually plan to reduce that to the maximum. Because net zero is basically science-based targets plus the little bit of absorption that you have to do at the end. So the science-based targets need to be as serious as you can make them. And you have to reduce as much as you can. So if you do that, then you can pledge. And you have proper targets that you know you can meet, and you can pledge to net zero and proceed and organize, etc. But I would highly recommend to have those two things in place. So first, the CSR strategy, or at least think about it, how this fits into your organization. Have the top on board. If you don't have the top on board, you will fail. But I trust INSEAD alumni to be right at the top and to have their influence there. And then know what your baseline is and know what you can reduce, you know, so calculate it through. But hey, I'm an engineer, secretly. So we like to calculate.
Well, but you know, it's ultimately a complex problem. So it's
Yes.
good to have a bit of discipline and all the sort of structures rather than just going in blind.
You shouldn't go in blind. That's the main message indeed.
With less than 150 days to go to the COP26, what would be your personal message to the alumni?
Yeah, it's a strong one. I think, you know, the time is really now. It's quite an emotional one for me, and I hope that emotion will be felt by many people who are listening, because we have to move. The time is not tomorrow anymore. The longer we wait, the more difficult it will become. The harder the compliance rules will come, because you know, there's huge consequences. As the INSEAD community, we are a global pack of people, so we can act globally. We're also quite wealthy, you know, healthy also, hopefully, but wealthy also. We're privileged. And most importantly, I think we understand business as no other. And we're close to the top in a lot of organizations. So I think we really can, and we should be a key player in engaging global business to go to net zero. If it's not us, who will do this? We should feel responsible. We know the business risks, we know the opportunities, we can see this, we know how to, and we can engage at the top level. And again, this responsibility thing we should carry together. You know, we have to bring business sense to this as well. It's something that will bring ultimately profitability. I'm convinced at all the companies that will start acting now. If you act at the end, you'll be behind, you'll be shocked by the compliance that will come, you will feel the negative impact of it. If we act now, you can find a proper place in the market, you can take profit of it actually, you'll be prepared, and you can, with a clean heart, can you say that? Clean mind, you can say that you act responsibly for yourself or for your children, and this should be a priority to you above any other target that you have.
Thank you so much. It's a very moving message, and I think we will work very hard to push that message out to the alumni and beyond. I think it is urgent, it is now, and we can do it, and we can do it together, and that is also one of the reasons why I volunteer for CIC, because I feel we have no excuse not to do something about it, and if we cannot, who can? Because, you know, we have all the resources, and supposedly we have all the brain power as well, so let's hope that we can do something together. But thank you so much for your time, and it's been really, really great to talk to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Candy. Thank you. Good luck to everybody.